Hi, this is Holly Metzger Brown. I'm presenting in Chapter 7, Radical Behaviorism for ABA Practitioners, written by James M. Johnson. Let's take a little closer look. Our behavioral responsibilities, as mentioned, Jen is a BCA BA, shares one of her stories with her experiences working in a school district. She was assigned to assist teachers and help students to address their behavior issues. One of her wishes is that teachers would be more concerned with why her students were performing academically tasks at a low level. Jen contemplates and addresses her discoveries and questions why teachers are focused on not tolerating students acting out compared to their interest in their students' struggles academically. She expresses her response to her own question. When a student acts out during class, that behavior gets in the way of the goals of the teacher and can't be ignored, such as a low test score. Jen's supervisor then states it is possible that the teacher can't help if they don't know how. The teachers who don't have the background or the training to look at behavior, they assume the poor test scores means a student isn't intelligent. Jen's supervisor provides words of wisdom to be gentle while working with teachers. As Jen expresses her frustration, Jen recommends it would be in the best interest of students if there were teachers training to assist with fixing both behavior and academic achievement. Let's learn a little more. Creativity, which was discussed a lot in Chapter 7. Where does creativity come from? And are individuals responsible for their own creative accomplishments? How to approach creativity. Creativity is a thing. It's a way to label behavior focusing on interest, on behavior. No evidence that creativity is a physical phenomenon. It's a mental event, methodologically challenged. Nurturing environment contingencies this behavior on demand. Labeling behavior as creative. What do we mean? The meaning of what we say is a matter of identifying the sources of control over our emissions of a particular verbal response. What does it mean? Creative. Let's take a little bit look at this photo. This is a great example. If your friend shows you this piece of artwork, a person that doesn't have an art background might tell you that your artwork is creative, while another person with an extensive art background would not agree the piece of artwork was creative. The behavior we label as creative depends in our experience with that particular behavior. What have we been taught? Well, the verbal community. Learn to call something creative when they are not familiar with what has been created. What we might learn. Behavior. Looking at creative in the way we know operant behavior works. Basic and applied research. In surrounding environments, similar responses are tied together. An example, when a child responds to seeing a dog, on one occasion they could say dog, and in another occasion they'll say doggy. The same response happens when they see a dog, and the result is an operant response class. This might be seen to be novel, however, a part of existing response class. What we know about creative behavior. It's not a special behavior. Its origin isn't different than any origin of behavior. Behaving a certain way in the past developed this comparison. It is fundamentally the same as any operant behavior. It is not a human quality. We do not have more of it than others. Applied research. School children demonstrated more literacy efforts in their writings with arranging effective reinforcers. When developing the necessary skills and tendencies aligning with the correct reinforcer contingency, mixed with correct opportunities, children will write stories that we call creative. Reinforcement contingencies. What most people believe. People deserve credit for their accomplishments. Creative accomplishments should receive recognition. Behavior was originated from the individual and not the environment. But what science tells us? When we praise a person's accomplishment, it functions as a reinforcer. Therefore, the probability of this effort is more likely to happen in the future. The behavior that was awarded is a result of history, of our experiences. Behavior that appears to be spontaneous. Spontaneous behavior doesn't just happen, has a cause, and we must look for it. Through influences, it doesn't have to occur immediately. It has reinforcement history. A great example of this is this pigeon. Pecked the key and came to a stop, then started walking around. The investigator cannot disagree the history of the reinforcement that was contributed to this event. Inner quality versus environmental history. Those who suggest creativity is an inner quality believe that creativity comes with an individual. Some people have more creativity than others. Some people even have special abilities. What this means: individuals who demonstrate creative tendency will receive more encouragement. There will be undesirable side effects through this discrimination. Inner quality versus environmental history. This is the continued part. Environmental history, what we know and what we can observe. We cannot change individuals, we change behavior. Reinforcing behavior makes it stronger. We can encourage desired effects through recognizing the origin and reinforce target behavior. Conclusion of all this: appreciate the procedures that took place for strengthening the desirable behavior in the environmental history. Acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Environmental history associates with accepted and unaccepted behavior. Anything we do and what we do comes from our environmental history. Individuals should not be blamed for their behavior. But who should be blamed? The reinforcing contingencies in history that should have been replaced with appropriate consequences. This is an important note. Identify the cause of an individual's behavior, and the goal is to make that behavior less likely to occur in the future. Responsibility. Understanding of responsibility. Being self-aware, you can describe your own behavior. The freedom to choose, you're less likely to be held accountable if you lack the choice. Individuals who take responsibility of their actions that receive praise worthy. However, individuals avoid blame when others don't like their behavior. Environment instead of the mental world. Cause of behavior is from the environment. Contingencies between appropriate and inappropriate behavior and their consequences. Social contingencies guide the direction of individuals' behavior by the verbal community. Great example of this is when a child misbehaves and a teacher gives up on that child because they assume the child is a reflection of their personality qualities rather than their environment contingencies. Fail to develop techniques to better manage the child. Conscience. When we are behaving is not the standard of culture norms. We are taught to feel ashamed or guilty. Youth who demonstrate misdeeds are verbally or physically punished. have acquired punishment history. Punishment contingency result in physiological effects. Behavior that has been punished throughout a child's history has been conditioned to respond through certain reactions labeled as feeling guilty or ashamed. Misbehaving and receiving punishment has been a part of our lives through countless incidents. Therefore, it is simple to explain feelings. Can your dogs feel ashamed? Sometimes it's difficult for your dog not to recognize your dog's ashamed when you catch them sneaking on the table and they run up the steps with their head down and their tail between their legs. The verbal community created this picture of what dogs should look like when they feel ashamed. However, we know that is not necessarily true because it is all about the actions lie in canine biology and their individual histories with punishment meditated by humans. So dogs cannot feel ashamed. The conclusion to Chapter 7: labeling behavior as mental causes is going to hold you back from seeing the established science. To understand what is really going on in individuals' behavior, you must use that understanding to focus on practical behavior issues. The discussion question I asked the group: explain the time you suggested something or someone was creative. Knowing what you know now, how would you explain your story differently? A note, here's the reference of Johnson's book, Radical Behavioralism for ABA Practitioners. Thank you.